Hola, Portugal junkies. Boa tarde.
Hola.
It is permitted. It's after 5 o'clock. The sun
Afternoon.
is going down.
People drink
in
here
the
all
afternoon.
day.
In the afternoon. So today we're going to do a little bit of something different. We're going to answer some questions that people have written into us about. So
I'm very excited.
this is always fun. This is engaging. This is part of the reason we're doing this, because it's all about creating community. It's creating engagement. It's having fun. It's learning about new things that you thought you knew. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But we'll crack on and we'll find out how it's been for us on some of these questions.
Yeah,
So,
we had people send us questions, which we love. So maybe we can do this.
I think it should be.
I think it should be once a
something.
month,
Yeah, I
or
think
maybe a bonus episode every month.
bonus
episode.
Yeah,
Something outside the weekly.
Yeah.
But that would be fun because it also helps us keep our finger on the pulse of what people actually want to know.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
it's
so
all
much we could tell you.
It's all well and good us saying, and here's what we're going to tell you. But sometimes it's like, yawn, I don't want to know that. What I want to know is
this.
that.
Yeah.
In which case, let us know, write in.
Yeah, I would love that.
Right
So
in.
you can do this for future, if you want your question answered.
Send your questions in on a
Yeah.
prepaid postage card.
No, that's Stonehenge for you.
Yeah, that's back
Send
in the
us
day.
a DM on Instagram. It's probably the easiest way, because then we can collect them
and sneak
I'll,
them in.
I'll try to put out a reel every time, or a story on Instagram every time, so that we have at least one a month that we collect
Why not?
questions.
Why not?
But I am enjoying this wine. You want to talk about? We thought it would be really cool.
Always want to talk about wine. I mean, want to drink it more than talk about it. But,
We thought it would be really cool if sometimes we integrate some cultural things as part of what we're
wine,
learning.
cheese,
Because we do love wine.
sausages.
But you don't even like the sausage. You just revealed a big thing. You don't really love the sausage.
No.
Nobody come for us. But I'm not.
Yeah.
If the Englishman doesn't like the sausage,
And it's got to be a certain kind of sausage.
I think it's just different texture.
But here's the thing, it's like, I'm 53, so 14 years of growing up eating English sausages.
True.
And then you've got to switch to,
And I just eat Jimmy Dean.
is that even sausage? Or is that just a makeup of stuff?
Probably that's what sausage is.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress
Anywho,
because the fun stuff was going to talk about the wine we're drinking.
Yes, and for those watching,
For those
here it is.
watching on YouTube,
it is also empty.
and then for those listening on the podcast, this is a Monte Velo, Montevelho,
Yep.
Velho, I think. And this is it's a white, and it is an Alentejo region wine, which I would likely say between Alentejo and the Dow region, they have been my favorites so
Yeah,
far. And there's going to be people coming for me too for saying
why
that.
are you in
since
Douro and not drinking
we
Douro?
live in Portugal. I mean, we live in Porto, and we're 2 hours from the Douro Valley, which is prime wine country up there, and it is beautiful.
Wine real estate, it really
But
is.
I tend to like the wines that come from the table wines that come from other regions.
Yeah.
Port is a whole different story. So,
But I also think, everyone's probably heard it and said it before at some point in time, and that is, you can start off with a decent glass of wine, and by the third glass, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just kind of putting that out
strategy.
there. Unless, of course, maybe...
Drink the good stuff first.
Absolutely, because that's what's going to break your palate. But maybe we'll just have a whole episode on wine, and we're going to have 5 different wines lined up.
Yeah, that would be entertaining.
Yeah, it certainly would be for me.
By the end, it would be really entertaining.
I don't know what value anybody's going to get out of it, but hey.
All right, so for our winos,
Yeah.
we wanted to share this one with you. Oh, wait, we have to talk about the price.
Oh, yes.
How much was this wine?
€3.99. €3.99.
Y'all, that's less than $4.50.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's
And
our fun wine
yeah,
moment,
it's,
because I think we should do this every time.
And it's it's great, but at the same time, just got to be careful.
Well, yeah.
So
It's real affordable to
yeah,
time on
especially with this one, because this is 13.5%. So as far as white wines go, it's quite a high
It's good. It's not like a Chardonnay. It's like a crisp. I would say it's like a dry Pinot Grigio, something like that. But anyway,
it's really tasty.
Maybe we'll do a little bit of that every time since we tend to drink while we're recording our podcast.
Nobody judges.
It's fine.
Or if you do,
we are who we are.
Right, and let us know you're judging us.
Yeah, we'll get some of that.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay, Q&A. What questions did we get?
Okay, I'm going to run through 3 questions. But the first one is that we've got is, what's been the biggest cultural difference since we moved to Portugal, or particularly to Porto?
Oh. Ooh. Well, I think language is obviously, I'm not even going to go into that because it's pretty obvious that having a language barrier is hard. Different, completely different culture and different language. But I think the biggest one for me is how slow things move.
Yes. Yes.
We have touched on this, I think.
Yeah, for sure, with the bureaucracy and various other things like that.
It's not even the bureaucracy. It's just that things literally, here's the thing. Maybe it's because I've come from a corporate background for a long time. And in the companies that I was fortunate enough to work for, it was always about, how do we do things more efficiently? How do we make the focus on the customer and easier and a smooth process and blah, 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 blah. And there's none of that here.
No.
In our experience, things that literally could have been taken care of by going onto a website and filling out a form, we have to literally go in person, which I can't even. This one, I call him affectionately Stonehenge. Since we started dating, because when I started dating him, he barely had a Facebook, page. There was none of this, anything technological, anything tech was not his thing. He's grown considerably.
Yes,
he did set up all of this today for our podcast. But I just say that because I feel like he doesn't get as bothered by it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why there's not any efforts there.
Yeah, in its defence, I will say this. The country itself, while it's extremely old, obviously, thousands years old, the country itself is only really been like it is now for the last 50 years.
That's a
since
good point.
liberation of
it was under dictatorship for
so it's actually only 50 years old in terms of
progress.
Where we stand today and how far back you go. In terms of the progress. I would absolutely agree that the difference of getting things done. Case in point.
Story?
3 days ago. So I have a real estate license back in North Carolina, South Carolina. My South Carolina one wanted some information and I needed to have it notarized. Well, obviously I'm here and they're there. Trying to get somebody here to notarize a document that's in English on a Friday afternoon
would be impossible. It wouldn't happen.
It just wouldn't happen. And I'd be stressing about it all weekend, and going into Monday I'd be thinking, how the heck am I still going to get this done? However, Friday when I got the message through that I needed to get this notarized, it was a case of went on to Google, thank you, and just found a notary online within 16, maybe 17 minutes. Done, dusted.
You got on Zoom,
painful.
right?
It was online on Zoom,
to verify who you
verified, all the rest of it. And I think that for me, that just really goes to prove that yes, things need to change here. No, they're not going to change quick in that sense. And that's one of the things I've missed.
Yeah, I miss convenience.
The convenience. And I think
but I also, here's the thing, I can say that, but I also appreciate it. I mean, I know I can sit here and sound like I'm complaining and, Portuguese patience and all of that. It's just different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But why do you move to a different place? You
move
move
there.
to
change it.
You're
move and it's
you
you've
move
got
there
to accept the good, bad, and the ugly of it.
You move there to assimilate to that culture.
Right.
And I think it's just a matter of time. I think that it also brings me a little bit more calm. I know that I can't, there are things that I can't control here too. And it makes me slow down. It's hard because in the interim, I feel that angst of like, I want to get something done, but nobody else here is really feeling those. I get the impression that because that has always been their experience, there's not a whole lot of like anxiety type activity
I think
here.
That, I think if you asked a Portuguese person and us about their commentary on the same situation, they'd be like, what's your problem?
The big deal? Like, it'll happen. You'll figure it out. It'll get done.
So big cultural difference, huge. And that's even coming from an English guy, where you want to do an Amazon return, you have to download the sticker or the piece of paper, you have to print it off, you have to box it, you have to attach it to the box, and then you have to take it to the post office or a Amazon location. It's not terribly convenient. So,
and yet I come from whole different.
But that I will say
Amazon. I miss Amazon. That's my biggest cultural difference.
You miss it, but we've saved thousands. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
It's real simple.
All right, what's the next question?
The next one. So from another person, were you always a remote independent worker, or is this something you started to sort out?
Oh, like start a new thing?
Yeah, start a new thing.
So, yes, I was already a remote worker, but I was not a remote worker in the sense that they would let me go anywhere. So, remote working from home for 7 or 8 years, but no moving to Portugal and working from there. So I personally knew that if we came here, I would have to quit my job, which is what I did, and that was
tough.
That was tough for all the corporate bullshit that I was just done with after being in it for 20 years. It was still very hard because I really loved the people that I worked with.
Yeah, I suppose that's the trade, isn't it?
But the stuff that they can't control and the BS that happens anyway, it's like
you're not gonna miss it.
You can't get rid of that. So anyway, so I was an instructional designer for a Fortune 200 company for 13 years plus, and I did sales training and all that jazz, e-learning, blah blah blah, podcasts. Mark and I also built a real estate business while we were in Charlotte for the 3 years before we came.
Pretty difficult to leave.
I mean, we did well.
Yeah.
But being successful in doing things that you're good at doesn't necessarily mean that it's stuff that you want to do.
Yeah. I agree.
I feel like I got to that point.
I think you've got to find a balance between, the value of life and the value of money.
Yeah.
And it's a trade,
We've basically given up money.
We're
poor now.
A lot. Which is why I come back to, it's great that Amazon is really difficult to use over here, because that helps tie into this other element.
We have definitely had to change everything about finances and all that. But yes, we are, seriously, when it comes down to it, this is what the number one thing that stops people from coming. That is true.
Yeah.
Like, I would venture to say that there's a large population in the US who has dreamed of moving to Europe for one reason or another, even if it's just for a little bit of time, right? But they don't do it because of this issue. They don't do it because it takes a lot to leave a current role and go out on your own, which is what we've done.
Yep.
We are in the middle of building that out, and what it can look like. I am 100% obsessed with trying to figure out how to build something that's not tied to my time all the time, because I think that's true freedom. Or to a place. So,
because that gives us more flexibility in what we do and where we do it.
So I do some freelance podcasting, producing for people, on the side.
Unashamedly.
Yes. And so I am starting up that, but it's really, again, that's just one piece. We are trying to build this community, help people travel, help people experience Portugal if you're thinking about moving
Travel
here.
advising.
Figuring out how to help and get you resources to get you over here, all of that. This podcast is one of those things, and the YouTube channel.
Other things will be added as we go and as we need or as we see it gives value.
We're also exploring
Yep.
real estate related opportunities here. That is less like what I was talking about with the not tied to my time or place or your time or a specific place.
Yeah.
But how cool would it be to help people find their apartments here? Right? From a lens of a couple who has done it, and we are actually going to be doing an episode about our biggest mistake, which was our first apartment.
Yeah.
We know better now. We know what to tell you.
We sure do.
So, I mean, the big answer to that is, were we always remote? Yes. Were we tied to businesses that were successful either by W-2 or our own business? Yes. And we made the decision that those things can always be built again.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, if everything goes completely pear-shaped.
Pear-shaped. So English. We don't say that here.
Okay. But
you also say if everything goes tits up.
Yeah, well, I was going to avoid saying that. But
why?
Well, if everything goes tits up. Anyway, if everything goes wrong, then,
you go back home.
You figure it out. You just figure it out. And I think ultimately we can say that, I think, because
there's
we
a privilege
don't have
there
kids.
too.
We have a little dog.
Right.
We're very light as to what we need and have. So
well, that's not lighter.
Yeah, there's definitely some privilege in our position.
100%. I mean, not everybody can financially just say, I say it lightly. It was not lightly for us. And there are days where I still wake up and I'm like, what have we done? But you know what? I have to just have faith that, when you put things out into the world that you want to do to help other people and that you're good at, you will succeed. It just might take you some time.
It might take a bit of time or a bit longer than you thought it was going to.
All those
other
things.
stumbling blocks.
We just have to keep
the main thing.
Keep the main thing. All right, what's the final question?
The final question. Peaks and troughs so far.
Excuse me?
Peaks and troughs, ups and downs.
You're telling me that someone wrote in and said, what are the peaks and troughs?
No, I was sort of translating.
Oh, you Englishized it.
Well, yeah, because we're closer to England than we are to
peaks and troughs. So
peaks and troughs.
Peaks and pits, like high and low?
Yeah, high and low. So far.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay.
Again?
Peaks.
Yes, that'd be good.
Peaks for me are every day waking up and knowing that we've been brave and that we will never, ever, ever regret what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I think ultimately
that's a peak.
it would have been a I don't know, I just think that if we hadn't have done this,
we would have dreamed of it.
We would have been dreaming of it still, sitting in suburbia, going, ooh, wouldn't it be nice if? Yeah. Well, kind of...
Time is ticking.
Time's ticking, yeah. So, again, that was our situation. We were able to... There's a lot of people that can also do that, but sometimes you just got to take a plunge. We did. It's worked. It continues to be highs and lows of daily life.
So what's your low?
My low?
Your trough.
My trough. I guess for me, being sort of black and white, I'm having to come to terms with where money comes from. In reality, where money comes from. How do we keep this going? How do we survive this? And so those are the lows, and you sort of wake up and think,
stress of it.
The stress of it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! This is really what we've done, which is fantastic because 6 months yesterday. First trip, woohoo! It was absolutely fantastic, and then you think, shit,
we've been here 6 months.
We've been here 6 months. now what?
Yeah.
Oh crap! But yeah, again, if we didn't do it, we would be sitting in suburbia wondering when are we going to do it?
And I'd rather go and do it and fail.
And if we fail,
And
again,
I don't
comes
think
back
we
to
will,
if
because we're not going to regret it.
No, but I'm not going to avoid the conversation of if it does, then we figure it out when that happens.
Yeah.
If that happens.
100%.
I'm not going to live in the dark moments, but I am going to recognise that they exist.
Yeah. And I think you just sometimes have to take a chance on things, and that is...
On each other as well.
And each other.
Number one cheerleader.
I really do believe that. I really do sometimes, and it takes a lot there's a lot of people are completely risk adverse.
Yeah.
And I think that when you have a partner who is on about the same level as you in terms of willing to take risks, that makes it easier to take risks.
It does.
For me...
Yeah, because you're both going to row the same boat with or without an oar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're in it together.
Yeah.
So it's what it is.
It's very English too.
What, rowing and an oar?
Whatever that thing is that you just said.
In the same boat.
Anyway, I think that's hard, but
creek without a paddle.
I also just believe that, we're just not going to regret it.
Yep.
We're not going to regret it. So when you get past the point of like being willing to take the risk because you truly know that you're not going to regret it, and even if it goes tits up, right? You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And at this point we have our house at home, we rented it out, we have a car at home, and those are the easy things, right? That you're easy to come back into that world if you wanted to. So we do have that safety net a little bit, but I don't really want to use it.
No. And again, every time I speak to my mum, it's a case of, this has happened, good or bad, whatever. And she's like, well, you wanted an adventure.
You wanted an adventure.
That's what you wanted, that's what you've got. It's like...
It's true.
Yeah, thanks for that. Sometimes it's like...
It doesn't mean rainbows and butterflies.
Sometimes it's like, I could do without that.
It means everything that comes with adventure.
Yeah.
It means that your life is not boring. It means that you don't know what's going to happen on any given day.
Just so true.
And what you're going to see and do and experience and learn. And that is what we're doing. And so...
But also, just to kind of cap it all around, I don't want to sort of finish it on a negative type direction, but on the peak side of it, for me, has been starting to try and learn a new language. That's a real high for me. I need to do it more. I could do it. I could be better at it, but
Portuguese is hard.
It's a tough language.
Yeah.
Not going to fib about that. But again, it's the people. I keep coming back to the people make so many things easier with the way that they help, the way that the restaurant down the road. Every time I walk past there, it's like, hey, how you doing? And where's Charlotte? And bring the dog and all that sort of stuff. So I think again, community, where we live, we've been very lucky to have moved to this area now, and I think that's made a big difference.
Yeah.
It's it's not a case. I didn't want to answer the question of like, okay, well, the top 5 peaks and the top 5 troughs are, but at the same time, I think it's important to recognise that there are always going to be challenges, but also recognise the achievements in the last 6 months where we individually have grown and together have grown.
Yeah. Oh, I've definitely grown in 6 months, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I can definitely say that it has pushed me to be different and to think differently about things that I encounter, but also reflect differently on myself and why I might be reacting a certain way in the uncomfortable space, or why I'm having trouble getting in a routine, or why I'm doing all of this. It is very much it forces you to be even more reflective about yourself, because you don't have those natural comforts that we take for granted in our natural state or where we were living, all those things, because it was a very comfy life.
It was.
It was also, might I say, a little bit of a boring life.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was a comfortable life, but those comforts came with added stress to make sure that you kept up with those comforts.
Yeah.
You kept up with that house. You kept up with $10 for a glass of wine when you go out. So you kind of didn't go out because who wants to spend $10 on a glass of wine? Yeah. Well, I didn't go to the hoity-toity places you went. I went to the dive bars. But yeah, I just think that, again, coming back to where our highs and lows here, I think it's just taking every day as it comes, but knowing that there is always going to be highs and lows.
Absolutely, and I also think that, you know, being really in the moment is important here.
Yeah.
Because it can get real quick that you can walk outside the door and, oh, you want to see that church that was built in 1200? It's right there. And you get used to seeing it.
Yeah.
And then there are days when I'm like, why am I walking by Il Defenso and not stopping and looking at that beautiful place?
Just taking a moment and recognizing that
because it's in our backyard.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know.
It's strange how quick you come to realise that you can take things for granted that are in your doorstep.
And I don't want to.
No.
I want to be living in gratitude more than
Absolutely.
probably I do.
Well, again, I keep coming back to the say yes more times than you say no. And that's just something I think living life by, not just a particular circumstance.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
With that being said,
cheers.
Say yes more than we say no. So, yes to another bottle of this.
We finished the bottle. Sorry. This was the tail end of the bottle. Just so you know, we do not have the entire bottle on this podcast. No. Thank you very much. Don't put it past us next time, though.
No, not going to make any promises for the future.
But
okay.
Thanks for the questions.
Thanks for the questions. Keep
we
them coming.
Will probably do this more often because I think it's cool.
I think it's fun. I think it allows us to be more expressive.
See what you think. You need to send us a message or comment and let us know what you think, or send us another question.
Yeah, we'd love to get the questions.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Good
job. All right.
Awesome.
Until next time.
See you later, y'all. Cheers.
See you later. Ciao.
Listen up, future expats. For more content about our move, the visa process, Portuguese culture and destinations, and tons of support resources for your own decisions and potential move abroad, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Portugal Junkies.
Stay in touch and help us reach more people by subscribing here and following us there.
Cheers, y'all!